Welcome to this episode of Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to learn how to play Pulp Alley by way of the solo rules. Let's get started. And so this begins turn 4. We're going to again start by activating the French. The closest to the enemy looks like it's poor Doc Ward of all people. Doc Ward standing right here, back a few inches behind the well. He can gets his card, his Watchful Eye, has to roll a challenge, which is 2 cunning or might. Not the best of challenges for Doc Ward. Doc Ward's cunning is 2d6, might's 1d6. So he's going to do 2d6, obviously. But he's got to be successful on both of these or he's going to risk taking hits. He's not successful on either of them. So he has to roll 2d6, 1 for each hit. He did make both of those, however. Character cannot move, so he cannot move. That's not good. He would like to have moved. Next will be Marcel, who is over here. So we'll pull a card for Marcel. Marcel gets Watch Your Step. This character encounters a peril immediately. 1 cunning or might. For Marcel, those are probably both 1d6, but let me check. It doesn't matter which one. Roll a d6. He's successful, so he does not take the damage from that card, and he can go ahead and do something. It's going to get harder to take plot points at this point. He's going to come across over here, and he's going to shoot at Choi. Marcel is sharp, so he can re-roll one of his shoot die, and he shoots at 2d6. His target is within 6 inches, so he's actually going to be shooting at 3d6. Choi is shooting back at, normally she would have a d6, but she's also at short range. So I'm going to roll, the larger green dice will be Choi. So that's 1 hit for Marcel and 2 hits for Choi. And Choi can't stop either of those because they both are higher than his own. So Choi has to roll 2 dice for his hits. He makes 1 but fails the other. Choi is hit and he is down. And 1 hit for, Marcel is hit and down. Choi is not hit, but Choi has been involved in a combat. So that's the first activation. The next activation is going to be, I think it's going to be Samson. Samson is going to have to get somewhere where he can do something. Samson's going to go ahead and move here. That is a run. So he's going to suffer for the movement, but he's going to shoot at Choi. Samson, his shoot. Samson shoots at 1d6. He's actually down because of the movement, so he can't actually shoot. So he's not going to shoot, but he'll take a position and cover behind that well for the next time around. Actually, I forgot to pull his card, didn't I? He would have gotten Watch Your Step, character encounters a peril, so he would have had to roll cunning or might. That's a d6 for him. He doesn't make it, so he suffers 1 hit if he fails this roll, which he also did. So actually, he stumbles and falls on his way there. I keep forgetting to pull these cards because that's not used to the solo game. I've never actually played the solo game before. I normally play or run the regular game. Doc Ward couldn't go. That's the 3 activations. LaForge can go now. LaForge is going to run over here towards the beggar, like he should have done in the first place. That ends the activation of the French, and we go over to the activation of our heroes. So I'm going to start with activating Englehorn. Englehorn gets awkward. The character suffers a negative dice penalty to their next shoot or finesse roll. I'm going to be using that immediately because I'm shooting at LaForge. So LaForge is not in close. So normally Englehorn would have 3d10, but he's down to 2d10 because of that card. He's shooting at LaForge over there, who is very talented. LaForge is 3d10, and he is not suffering. So it's going to be 2d10 against 3d10. I'm going to roll for Englehorn first. That's 1 hit. And LaForge is going to have 2 hits. Englehorn activated this, so he could use that 8 to stop one of those. I don't think I'm going to. This could be a risky maneuver, but we got to drop people. We got to drop them. So I'm going to roll the 2 dice for Englehorn. Oh, Englehorn misses 1. So Englehorn takes a hit. He also gets his orange marker for being in a combat. LaForge makes his. And LaForge has an ability which prevents him from suffering the multi-combat issue. I think it's veteran. So I'm not going to put an orange marker on him. Oh, not good for our side there. The who do I have left? I can't take plot points really with Choi or Lumpy. I could try, but it's risky. You saw what happened to the better character over there. I think I'm going to have to get them into the fight. They're not particularly good at that either. So I'm going to go ahead and activate Lumpy. Lumpy gets passed it on, draw and play 1 additional solo card on the next character that activates this turn. Okay, that's going to be Choi in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and move Lumpy to the well. Lumpy's going to shoot at the doctor. She probably can't actually. But now I have to pull 2 cards for Choi. The first card, the reason Lumpy can't fire is because she's only got a d6 to hit anyway, and the movement will take that d6 off the run that she had to do to get to the well. So for Choi, I get awkward. The character suffers a negative die penalty on their next shoot or finesse roll, and that stays until they use it. And hesitation, cannot perform any actions and cannot run until the end of this turn. Actions are not movement or combat, don't count as actions. Taking plot points do. So she can still move and she can still shoot but she's got that negative. Well, she's going to have to use that eventually anyway. She's going to also run over here to the cover of the well, and that's going to end the activation part of this turn. So now we have a lot of recovery rolls we have to do. I got to roll a d8 to get Englehorn back. He doesn't come back, so he stays at d8. I have to roll for is that Marcel, or he is knocked down. He is not knocked down, so he gets to stay. I have to roll for Samson. Samson has to roll. Okay, he is not knocked down. And the multi-combat markers come off. I should have removed this when I took the agent. And that now leads us back to the French. All right, what are we going to do? We take a marker out. We're now on turn 5. I'm going to go ahead and activate the closest. Who is closest now? Get a better ruler. Oh, it's clearly Marcel. Marcel's going to go ahead from there and fire at Lumpy. Lumpy, I'm only pulling Lumpy first because she's closest. Lumpy shoots on D6s. This is close range though, so instead of the 1d6, it'll be 2d6. And Marcel is probably the same. No. I should have shot with Marcel last turn. Oh no, Marcel was down. Marcel shoots on a 2d6, and because of the range, he gets 3d6. So we'll roll for Marcel first. Marcel gets no hits. Lumpy shoots back and gets 2 hits. So Marcel has to roll his health roll. He makes both of those. They both get combat markers, so. Okay. That's Marcel. I think I forgot to pull a card for Marcel, didn't I? Oh no, he had that challenge. Next is going to be Samson. Samson's card is Foul Play. The closest enemy to this character encounters a peril immediately. Use the challenge below. That's going to be Lumpy. So Lumpy has to roll 2 on a Might, Finesse, or Cunning, which she probably cannot do. She does not make them, so she is down. Okay. And we'll go to Samson. So Samson, one bad turn. The number of successes required to pass all challenges is increased by 1 till the end of this turn. I think I forgot one of those earlier. Samson's not really playing much in the way of challenges. He is going to move to the cover of that well, and he's going to shoot at Troy. Troy's not a shooter, but is in cover. Samson is also not a shooter, but is in cover. They would normally both get pluses to their range, but because of the cover, they lose those. So the black die is going to be Troy, the green die is going to be Samson. Troy misses, Samson hits. Troy's health roll, Troy makes the health roll, but they have both been in combats. And now we're gonna move Doc Ward. LaForge himself. LaForge gets Quirk of Fate. All other solo cards currently in play are immediately canceled and discarded. Okay. That means that the game has dropped back down to being 6 turns. It means that a bunch of these cards we had saved up with intention of using to our success later are suddenly gone. But negatives on the characters are also gone. That kind of shakes things up. It's also a good reason. That card is a good example of why you don't want to hold on too long to your cards, because you can just lose them all before you get a chance to actually use them the way you had intended. So those are all gone. But LaForge is going to go ahead and try to take the beggar plot point. So he has to do his challenge first. It's 1 might. That should be easy for our hero, or for the villain. His might is 2d10. So we're going to go ahead and roll 2d10 for that. Ooh, he did not make it. Oh, he only had to roll 1, didn't he? Yeah, he did make it, just barely. He got a 5, so he does make that. So he makes it through the peril. Now to play the plot point challenge, he gets 1 finesse. LaForge's finesse is 3d6. He only needs 1. He'll probably take that plot point. He gets 2. So yes, he takes that plot point. And as a reward, he gets. So he takes that plot point and therefore ends that activation. But that's a good end for them. Doc Warden, on the other hand, hasn't done anything yet. Doc Warden's going to go ahead and take cover and shoot at Choi. This is going to be 1 die for him. She's going to dodge. Choi's dodge. The reason Choi's dodging, her dodge is 1d6. The reason she's dodging is that they're both in cover, so that will undo each other. But this takes away her 1 dice to hit that she would normally have. So the white die will be Ward. The black die is Choi's dodge. And Choi wins. She successfully dodges. The hit never hit anyway. But had this been a 4, this works the reverse of the way the shooting works. If the dodge is equal to or higher than the shooter, then the dodge is stopped. If you want to block it. You also get a free 1-inch move if you wish, which I'm not going to use because she would lose her cover. But so she doesn't get hit. That ends the activation of the French, and we now do the activation of the Venturtreuse. So we're going to activate Inglehorn first. He has to pull his card. He gets Takedown. When this character knocks an enemy down, you may use this card effect to immediately remove the enemy from play. That's a great card, though I doubt I'm going to take down LaForge with this shot. And that's what I'm doing, is I'm shooting at LaForge. Now, I'm wounded. I normally would have 3d10 to hit, but what that wound means is I'm down a die to d8s. So I'm shooting on d8s. We are still not at close range. That's going to put me at a disadvantage because LaForge is 3d10 shoot. 3d10. LaForge gets a 9, a 6, and a 7. All 3 are hits. Whereas Inglehorn only gets 1 hit. 1 hit for 4. Now, he's the active shooter, but he doesn't outrank any of those anyway, so he can't even stop any of these. So he takes 3 hits. He's a D8. He rolls all 3 successes, so his hit does not get worse. There's only 1 hit to LaForge, and LaForge does not make his. I did not see that coming. So LaForge is also now down to a D8 and takes a hit. Good shooting on Inglehorn's part. We'll go ahead now and, oh, I should have taken a die off that, because Inglehorn's in cover. The Choi is going to go ahead, and Choi can't shoot because Choi's down dice. I'm going to get Choi out of there is what I'm going to do. Choi's going to run back into here behind the vehicle, out of line of sight from anybody. And the doctor's down. So that ends that turn. So I'm going to roll for recovery rolls. Going to roll for Choi first. Choi makes it. Oh, Choi's not down, but that comes off. The orange marker comes down. I have to roll for a D8 for Engelhorn. Engelhorn does not make it, so he stays at his D8. I have to roll a D6 there for Lucky, or she's gone, Lumpy. Lumpy makes it, so she is not gone. And her orange comes off. And we have to roll a D8 for LaForge. His comes off, and these oranges come off. And that ends turn 5. So this is turn 6 beginning. So we're going to go ahead now, the last turn of the game. We're going to activate who's closest to an enemy. It's probably, that's Samson back there, isn't it? Oh, Samson and the Doctor are both back there. We're going to activate Samson. Samson gets Nervous. Effect. This character suffers a negative die penalty to the next dodge or cunning roll. Probably not a big issue. Samson is shooting. Samson is a D6. He would normally get a bonus for the range, but he's shooting at somebody in cover, so he loses that. The return shot from Lumpy is 2/6. She normally go to 3d6, but she's shooting at somebody in cover. So the little dice are Lumpy, the big dice is Samson. Samson misses. Lumpy gets 2 hits. Samson rolls, fails one of his hits, takes a hit. Samson is down. Not what Samson expected in the first round of that game. I'll be playing his card. The next activation will be Doc Ward. Do need to put an orange marker on Lumpy. Doc Ward, stand firm. Roll the challenge below. 2 might or success. I don't think Doc Ward can make my 2 mights or successes. Might's a D6. And the other was finesse, not 2d6. Could make that one. I'm going to try to do a finesse roll. Does not make that. Takes 2 hits, got to roll for those. Well, at least 1 failure. That means, I don't know what the other one was, but it doesn't really matter. The duck is down. Not good. That's going to lead to Marcel. Marcel is shooting. Marcel is not blocked by cover. 2d6. 3d6 for the range. Now, Lumpy normally would have gotten 2d6, should have gotten 3d6, but those take 2 of those die off. So Lumpy's going to be the big green die. Lumpy misses, and there's one hit by Marcel. So Lumpy has to roll for that hit. She does not take the damage, but she does take another orange marker. These are piling up on her. There's no way to take any of the other plot points in one turn from here, so I'm going to go ahead and have LaForge close into 6. LaForge will get into 6, getting him up to 4d10 to shoot at Captain Engelhorn. Engelhorn is normally he's wounded, so he's only on 8s, but he's at 4d8. So this is 4d10 to 4d8s. Actually, it should have been 3d8s for. Let me re-roll that. I forgot about the cover again. Still 3 hits. That's going to be 7, 5, 4 for Engelhorn, and 8, 4, and 4 for LaForge. LaForge can use an 8 and a 4 to block that. No, I'm sorry. He rolled the d10s. He can use a 5 and a 4 to block the 2 4s. So they both only take one hit. But that's going to be harder for Englehorn. So I'll roll Englehorn first. Englehorn does fail. So he drops from a D8 to a D6. That's exactly what LaForge was hoping. Probably won't matter though, because I think he's the last activation. He is. And he has to roll a D10 for his hit. He fails his, so he also drops down. And it is now the turn of the heroes. This is the last activation, the last turn of the game. And it's not going to be horribly active in this bad situation we find everybody in. I'll go ahead and activate Englehorn first. Englehorn, shortcut, roll the challenge below to finesse or cunning. Finesse is D8s, but we're down to D6s now. Cunning is going to be 3 D6s. So we'll go ahead and use cunning. Ooh. Englehorn is shrewd. His dodge and cunning are not lowered for injuries. So he's still at 3d10 for cunning. That's still what I meant when I said there were some exceptions earlier. So he makes 2. He passes that shortcut. The this character may move an extra 3 inches when passing through perilous areas. Well, that's not going to matter. We don't have any perilous areas set up in this game. So that didn't really help him a whole lot. He could shoot. He's going to be down. We are at 6 now, right? So he would have been at 3d6. The range would have made 4d6. But he's down a die, so he's back at 3d6. LaForge is going to return this fire. LaForge is at 8s. He is at 3d8s. His range makes it 4, but the cover brings it back down to 3. So that's Englehorn, 1 hit. And 2 hits for LaForge. I can't risk, I'm going to have to use that 5. Well, I'm still going to take a hit no matter what. I'm going to block, so I only have to roll for 1 hit. I make it. Another orange marker on Englehorn. We'll go ahead and activate Lumpy over there. Lumpy can't do a whole lot. Lumpy may not be able to do anything. Quirk of Fate. All other solo cards end effect. Well, so any other cards that are out there are now useless. Probably weren't going to use any yet anyway. Lumpy can't really do much here because of all those combat markers on her. Lumpy could move though. It's not going to matter because Lumpy. Okay, I'm just going to consider Lumpy activated. Lumpy's crouching. Lumpy can't hide from any of. Lumpy can hide from them, but can't hide from him. So Choi can't do much of anything. I think we will just stay where we are and let the end of this turn run out and let the game end here. So that brings us to the end of that episode, or that game, of Pulp Alley played solo. In the end, the victory, because of the plot points, the French managed to take 2 plot points, 2 minor plot points, and our heroes only received the 1. So the victory goes to the Legio Patria Nostra. But that's how the game is played. I hope you enjoyed that portion of the video. If you're interested in Pulp Alley or any pulp gaming in general, I recommend Pulp Alley very heavily. It's very, very flexible. You can alter it and change it to play other periods or other genres. A friend of mine in England uses it for all skirmish gaming and historical games. Not just in the pulp venue. So very, very flexible. There's more information both on the Pulp Alley channel here on YouTube and on the Pulp Alley webpage. I'll include links down below if you want to see that information. And thank you very much. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit like or subscribe, and we thank you very much for joining us. Next week, we'll be bringing you an episode of 7TV, their new Pulp edition. Perhaps we'll be able to see how it compares to Pulp Alley. Thanks for watching. Until next time, cheers.